assalamu alaikum, ji ayanu, pakhair agale, ni hamachu neshumme, washmale hai, gonzaimas, hi, hugs and hellos to all those beautiful, amazing people who are tuned into PTV World. Well, it's very windy over here in the studios today. My name is Shahzad Khan, and with me I have the very beautiful, the very pretty Maha Maktoum. Hello Maha, how are you?
I'm good, thank you, Shahzad. How are you?
Absolutely perfect. And it's
My eye is watering today.
Are they?
Yeah, I think it's the wind.
Yeah, it is the wind, but then at the same time, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be quite a mission for us to do the show today, because you might not even realize what's going on right behind the cameras.
Yeah, and this is the beauty of live television. You know, you have to keep, the show must go on despite any technical issues. But today
and I might hold on to my kameez because it might cover my face in a while.
Please
very
save
windy.
yourself. But anyway, so today we have a really important show. We have two segments today, so we won't be having the whole show on the teachings of the Quran. But today we're going to be talking about the Quran and some verses and the implications of depression and what it means. And basically, we're going to find out what we're going to be discussing.
All right, so I think we are discussing Surah Yunus.
Yes, we are.
And
Yusuf.
for that particular reason, Yusuf. We are discussing Surah Yusuf. Sorry, my bad. But then at the same time, you know, our very own team member, Yusuf Raza, is here, and he's going to probably elaborate on that. Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum. How do you feel?
Wa alaikum assalam. I'm doing very good. Alhamdulillah. I feel right at home. This is just like my hospital.
It's a very, it is a very interesting vibe today. It's like, you know, very homely today.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what we're going to discuss, because we have a lot to cover today.
So just very quickly, Surah Yusuf is one of the unique surahs in the Quran in that the entire surah revolves mainly around the story of one prophet. Usually in the other surahs you will not see this, where you have a mention of multiple prophets and other topics are coming up more or less as well. So Surah Yusuf mainly revolves around the story of Yusuf alayhi salam. It was revealed in the 10th year of prophethood. This is the time that the Messenger ﷺ lost Khadija radiallahu ta'ala anha. He lost Abu Talib. Two of the closest family members to him, his most, the strongest support that he had gotten until that time in the face of everything that the Quraysh were doing. So he lost them, and that year was labeled the year of grief, Am al-Huzn, right? Because of this loss of the Messenger ﷺ. And for that reason, a story highlighting the sufferings of Yusuf alayhi salam and his family was revealed at that time with multiple other benefits, but one of them, of course, being to motivate and to console the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam and to show him an example that other prophets before you had to suffer as well.
Okay.
But then where do you think that will cover that depression element of it as well?
So there is an ayah that I picked out from the surah itself. Yusuf alayhi salam, as most of us know the story, I'll just very quickly highlight it or just recap it. Yusuf alayhi salam was kidnapped by his brothers, sold in the market as a slave.
Thrown in the well as well.
Thrown in the well, and then from thereafter sold as a slave. And then from there he was bought by an Egyptian minister. And then he raised him in his house as a servant, as a slave. His wife was sort of, she went wacky over him and she tried to seduce him. And then not just his wife, the wife of all the elitist people in that community.
Because he was very handsome.
He was incredibly handsome. They went bonkers over Yusuf alayhi salam. He could not. He was terrified, and he said, "Ya Allah, prison would be better for me than what these women are calling me towards." Right? So then he had to go to prison, and then he was in prison for a number of years.
There were two more people.
Yes. They asked interpretation of their dreams. He told them, and then his case was resolved. The king heard about him. The king's dream was interpreted by him. Finally, he came out. Then his brothers came. He kept one of his brothers to himself. There was a little trick that he played. Planted something in his bag and made sure that he could retain him, keep him there as a prisoner apparently. So the other brothers are horrified. And this is Yusuf alayhi salam's blood brother, in that he is his full blood brother. Well, all of them are blood brothers, but this is his full brother. The other 10 are half brothers.
Okay.
So all of them are children of Yaqub alayhi salam, but different mothers. So this brother has also been treated badly by the other 10 brothers, right? So now, and the eldest of those 10 brothers also chooses to remain back with Yusuf and Binyamin. His name was Binyamin.
Yeah.
So the 3 brothers are now in Egypt. The other 9 go back to Yaqub alayhi salam. And Yaqub alayhi salam, he's a prophet of Allah, and he is horrified at the news. I lost one son. I don't know where he is. I don't know where he is. He went with my children. My children are apparently saying that he got eaten up by a wolf, but I don't think that's true. And my other son that I loved is gone. My third son is, I've lost 3 sons. I don't know where they are and what is going to become of them. And so he is told to, get a hold of yourself, it's okay, and what are you going to do? Are you going to kill yourself over with grief? And you've already driven yourself to, such depression. And so at that point he says, إِنَّمَا أَشْكُو بَثِّي وَحُزْنِي إِلَى اللَّهِ. I take the complaint of my distress and my grief to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now this is important to understand for multiple reasons. One thing, a very common assertion in our society is when somebody is experiencing grief, when somebody is in distress, that we immediately become judgmental.
Yeah.
For one thing, we would want to, shrug it off, pretend as if it's nothing, no big deal, so what, be strong, get over it, that kind of an attitude. And then worse than that, we start judging the faith of the other person. We start saying, you're suffering from distress or grief because your faith is not strong enough. Where is that coming from? Where is that coming?
You hear that a lot in Pakistan
Exactly.
as well. It's like, oh, have faith. It's like, yeah, I do, but I'm just sad right now.
Exactly. So to understand that prophets went through those distressing experiences as well. Now, Yaqub alayhi salam's distress is not just any distress. He cried himself to blindness.
Aw.
That's severe distress. That's as distress surpassing the psychological boundary and coming into as a physical symptom. That's like him, that's a conversion symptom right there. And that's something very serious. And he's a prophet. There's no, again, all of these people who on the basis of their own personal self-righteousness and thinking that, oh, I'm high and mighty and strong and I don't have to go through distress, that means I have strong faith. Are you doubting and criticizing the faith of the prophets as well? Are you saying that they have weaker faith? You're somehow on a higher pedestal of faith than they were? So that's something very important to understand, because people are already going through their distress, and the last thing they want is to have that distress and that grief compounded by guilt. Oh my God, my faith is not strong enough. Oh, my iman is not strong enough. I am not religious enough. And all of those things just make things worse. So that's something that is very important to be understood. These are real human experiences. The Messenger ﷺ, for example, in a narration, his grandchild, one of his daughter's sons passed away in his infancy. He was very young. And the Messenger ﷺ went and he started obviously crying. His grandchild has passed away.
Yeah.
One of the Sahaba, radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he said, Ya Rasulullah, you're crying? You're exhibiting this grief? He said, yes, this is mercy from Allah. That sort of an interpretation that says that you become so hard and so cold, that's not the kind of patience that is required.
Yeah.
Patience does not entail that you become cold or stone-hearted.
Yeah. But then at the same time, all of the changes being made, if they are not useful, what's the point? Only if the people relevant can listen to that, I think that'll be great, because the direction apparently seems not to be helping us. And
Okay, so I don't understand what's going on right now.
yeah,
Okay,
but
so
that was a hidden message for somebody who walked into the studio right now, but he just walked out.
exactly. No, so now going forward, bringing it back to the current times right now, relating it back, what do we have to learn from this? So how do we go forward with this?
So one of the very beautiful words that is used in this ayah, what Yaqub alayhi salam says, he says, huzni, my grief. And that is very important to understand, because when I am suffering from my distress or even depression, I need to realize that it is a part of me and needs to be dealt with accordingly. Emotions need time, psychological symptoms need time, and they need their appropriate attention and to be taken care of. At the same time, I cannot allow for them to define me. So he's saying my grief, but he's not labeling himself with it. He's not allowing for it to overwhelm his entire being. So there is a difference between saying that I have depression or I am distressed than saying I am a distressed person.
Yeah.
Because now when you separate the two, when I say my depression or my grief, then I've created a distance between myself. I've understood that it's mine, but I've created a distance between myself and it. So therefore I retain within myself the power or the freedom to respond to it in a more mature or a more dignified manner, rather than being dictated by it.
But which manner is it then?
Now, what that is supposed to be is, for example, when I say my hand, I'm saying this is my hand, I possess it, it's part of me, but it's not me. It's not me. So the same goes for my psychological dimension. My spiritual dimension is that part of me which is free, is that part of me which can take a stand towards my psychological ailments. My psychological ailments are real, their problems are real, and they need to be addressed, but I cannot allow for them to define and overwhelm me. Otherwise, the depressed cognitions that I have, I'm going to think these are my cognitions. This is who I am. I am a pessimistic person. I am a negative person. I am an irritable person. I am an evil person, and so on and so forth. These are all part of me. Yes, I have to recognize that, but I can take my decision of what to say with my tongue and what to do with my hands. That is still mine. That freedom I retain. They are going to be influenced by my psychological state, but still, my final decision to choose my action is mine.
Yes.
And that degree of freedom is so important with respect to psychological illnesses that Franklian psychology is built completely around that. Where Viktor Frankl, Viennese psychiatrist, I mentioned him before, he ensures that human beings are understood as three-dimensional creatures in which you have the physical dimension, you have the psychological dimension, and then you have the spiritual dimension. And it is the spiritual dimension that allows for a human being to detach. I have physical pain, I detach myself and I look at it as a third person and choose my attitude towards it. I understand that it's there and I give it the treatment that it deserves, but I don't let it overwhelm me.
Okay.
And similar for psychological ailments as well. I don't allow for them to overwhelm me. I don't allow for them to dictate my behavior. And because my spiritual dimension it requires a meaning in life. It is going to be depressed itself, or rather it is going to express its frustration. Let's not say that it gets depressed, but it expresses its frustration if its will to meaning is frustrated.
So then how do you think that we are supposed to subject to it?
Now, we don't subject to it. It is who we are.
No, but then you just said that it is our freedom and we can practice it whenever we want.
Yeah, spiritual dimension, that's what I was talking about. How do we subject to depression is how we allow for it to take over us and we let go of our freedom and we allow for it to take us over. One thing that we need to understand is that even though the spiritual dimension doesn't get sick by itself, it gets frustrated if its meaning is not, if it doesn't have anything meaningful to look forward to, right? Another very common problem that we have is that a statement is usually given that if you are a good Muslim, then you are going to have, your psychological state is going to be absolutely satisfied, content, no depression. And a logical consequence of that, all those who are not Muslim, they are necessarily depressed, they are necessarily suicidal, and they are necessarily prone to anxiety and all of these illnesses. Again, that's a very, very shallow and very superficial reading. If individuals, regardless of where they come from, if they have a meaning-oriented life, then even if their psychological dimension is ill, it has depression or a bit disturbed, then that can still stand up for them as a stronghold, as an ability to rise above, but still struggle with, but rise above nevertheless, their psychological problems or even their physical problems. So you see people, again, the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his meaning that he stood for, allowed for him to overcome so many hardships.
Yeah.
Because it was such a huge responsibility that he had on his shoulders, he could not afford to let his distress get the better of him.
Obviously. But then at the same time, now let's just speak about all of those people who live with us, who live amongst us, and then there's a research which says that by 2020, Pakistan will be the country most prone to stress and depression. Now, what do you think are those things which are actually making us go towards that path?
Again, there are social factors to it. There are economic factors to it. Biologically, we're becoming more and more prone to depression. Biological depression, psychological depression, but then there is also the depression which is caused by meaninglessness in life, right? We need to be very understanding here that there are psychological benefits of pursuing religion. There are psychological harms as well, but we're not going to go there right now. There are psychological benefits of religion, but religion in and of itself does not put that as its primary responsibility. Religion doesn't say that follow me and you will be absolutely cured from all psychological ailments. That's not a claim. As a side effect, as a positive side effect of pursuing the meaning that religion gives you, that you can have relatively stable and a more a more sound attitude towards life, which allows for you to go at it, be productive despite your illnesses, despite physical and psychological illnesses. But the main claim of religion has to remain, and we need to be very clear about that, is salvation in the hereafter. With respect to that claim, the religion does claim that if you follow these guidelines and if you understand the message, then that's where I'm laying claim to. Your heaven and hell, that's what this belief system and these certain practices and responsibilities are supposed to lead to. Yes, but the psychological aspect of it, though positive side effects are there, you do lead a more meaningful life that will allow for you to rise above the instincts and the drives and the negativities and guilt. Because at the end of the day, I am feeling negative, even I can feel suicidal. But to take that step of actually harming myself, that choice is mine.
Yeah.
That choice is mine. To say I feel distressed, I feel irritable, and I don't like the first person who I see in the morning, and I want to lash out at them.
Me yesterday.
But whether or not I do that is my choice.
I didn't physically lash out at anyone. Verbally,
It was
maybe.
just verbally. Okay, so then how do we conclude it?
We concluded with the understanding that I have a psychological dimension. It is real.
But are we able to understand it if we are going through it?
The more we understand it, the better it is. The thing is, if I am able to take a third person look at myself, that's what my spiritual dimension, according to Viktor Frankl, allows for me to do. Self-detach, take a third person look at myself, take a look at myself with respect to my past, take a look at myself with respect to my future, take a look at myself with respect to my meaning in life, and then choose my response. That's where my strength as a human being lies.
Half of the time, whenever people have actually tried to do that, they're like, oh, you're lying. Well, that's not how I am. So that's a big problem.
Yeah, so again, people have their own impressions, their own subjective experiences with which they want to judge other people by, but this is not something that I'm saying. This is something that Viktor Frankl, Viennese psychiatrist, 28 honorary PhDs, 1 original PhD, 3 years concentration camp experience, neurologist and psychiatrist is saying.
So
now I get it.
yeah, so exactly, there has to be some weight in those words. But thank you so much. That's absolutely, it's very important,
Yes.
very vital to understand that, there are these psychological issues that, people do suffer from them, but at the end of the day, it does not define you as an individual and who you are.
Yeah, but then
and
at the
that's
same
exactly what
time,
I'm saying. And
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, sure.
And also, you have the capacity to be able to reflect upon yourself if you are willing to do it. You have to just stop, seeing yourself as being perfect.
And then the method is there. You just need a third person which you think is probably trustworthy in those terms.
That's true.
And then other than that, you have to detach yourself. You have to think about your present. You have to think about your future, and you have to think about your past as well. So ladies and gentlemen, if you are in a stressful situation, this is what you're supposed to do. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with something more amazing as well.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalam ala khatimil anbiya. There is always a concern among believers how they can make themselves more pious, more sincere, more devoted, and more committed. Believers, fasting has been enjoined on you as it was enjoined on earlier people. Taqwa means that attitude of mind in which a person feels that he is finding Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala around him.
Allahu, 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 Allah.
Honey contains flavonoids, antioxidants which help reduce the risk of some cancers and heart disease. Honey treatment may help disorders such as ulcers and bacterial gastroenteritis. All honey is antibacterial due to the fact that bees add an enzyme that makes hydrogen peroxide. Ancient Olympic athletes would eat honey and dried figs to enhance their performance. This has now been verified with modern studies showing that it is superior in maintaining glycogen levels and improving recovery time than other sweeteners. Honey helps with coughs, particularly buckwheat honey. It is more powerful than any lozenges and also helps in sleeping. Its antibacterial qualities are particularly useful for the skin, and when used with other ingredients can also be moisturizing and help reduce acne.
Situated in the heart of the South Asian subcontinent, Pakistan was the site for one of the world's most earliest human settlements. The Indus Valley civilization was filled with different cultures, religions, and political empires. This fascinating heritage is one of the many reasons tourists visit Pakistan, but it is certainly not the only one. Exciting adventure attractions, varied and plentiful animal life, historical ruins and monuments. All 4 seasons nature has to offer, and beautiful scenery are just a few of the many reasons to visit Pakistan. The hospitable people of Pakistan welcome all visitors with open arms and warm hearts.
Welcome back, everyone. And before the break, we were doing our segment of the teachings of the Quran and how it's still relevant. And today we're talking about Surah Yusuf.
Yes.
And it was about depression. Sorry, we got it mixed up before. But and it was on depression and how it's relevant and how you can deal with it and you can cope with it, and it doesn't make a difference to your spirituality or your belief.
Yeah, and we have even given them an entire process through which you can actually
Exactly.
go by, and then you can decide which option to pick up on. But now moving on, there are other people who, other than depression, are actually helping the society.
Exactly. And they're helping those who are probably depressed.
Yes, at the same time, because obviously if you do not even get sufficient food to eat throughout a day, that does make you stressful a bit.
Exactly, and that causes a lot of issues in your life, because especially if you have families, and within Pakistan, there's a lot of people living below the poverty belt line, and there's a lot of people who are doing a lot of good work. We've had a few of them on the show before, and in the coming weeks as well, we'll have more of them visiting, because a lot of them are doing a lot of iftari programs.
And then at the same time, the best part is that you can actually label it as an organization, but other than that, it's the Youth Assembly. And the entire Youth Assembly came up with a program named Fighting the Hunger.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's what it is. And I think that was a great initiative because these people will definitely get to be the leaders of the tomorrow's Pakistan. And for that particular reason, to discuss what it is, we have in the studio.
Yep, we've been joined by some members of the Youth Assembly, and the thing is, it's called Fight Against Hunger.
Yes,
so
Fight
that's
Against Hunger.
So we have been joined by Ayab Ahmed, who is the International Coordinator of the National Youth Assembly of Pakistan. Assalamu alaikum, good morning.
Assalam, good
Thank you
morning.
so much for joining us today. Besides Ayab, we've been joined by Basim Nasser. He is a Youth Minister for Foreign Affairs. Assalamu alaikum, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. So you guys have started a great initiative. So let's start with what the National Youth Assembly do, and then why you started the initiative. So we'll start with you.
Firstly, I would like to put a light on the National Youth Assembly. National Youth Assembly is basically it's a mock parliament of Pakistan, which is the only parliamentary organization which is registered and licensed by the federal government. So basically, what we do is the 11 months of the year, we arrange the parliamentary sessions, we do the conferences and seminars, and this month, the month of Ramadan, we do the philanthropic activities like feeding the poor, distributing the ration packages among them. So basically, our main mission is to train the youth and to groom them up, and then to bring whatever fields they want to go. They want to go to the political side, they want to go to the CSS side, bureaucracy side. So basically, it's a training platform for the youth, and we are directly implementing partners with 102 district governments and leading universities of the country.
But I thought that you guys were actually going through that grooming process. That's what
That's what
yes,
purpose was.
we are going to gather the youth. We are basically the main hierarchy of the Youth Assembly. Yeah?
Yep.
So we basically gather the youth in different districts in the Parliament of Pakistan, and we provide them a proper environment of the Parliament.
Okay, but we have
Excellent.
done like 2 or 3 shows
Yeah.
related to that or in that regard. But then other than that, let's pick up on this.
Yeah.
Fight against hunger.
Fight against hunger. Okay, so whose initiative was that, first
Basim.
of all?
Let's-
Well, I would like to answer this question in a very different context, or maybe the consequences of this. If you basically talk about our country is basically, you are what you portray about yourself, right? How do we portray about self? It's really like, unfortunately, if I turn on the TV and out of like 15 news, 14 out of 15 are from the negative side, right?
Yeah.
We have to show the positive side of the country. I'll give example of central London, right? Over there people get stabbed. In New York people get robbed. We don't name the Londoners with the stabbers, or we don't name the New Yorkers with the robbers. So that's why we feel we may not name as a terrorist, right? People talk about Pakistan and they start talking about the terrorism, right? So this is the initiative which National Youth Assembly have took to show the bright side of the country.
Okay, that's wonderful. Okay, so now taking up, because Ramadan is when you do the philanthropic work and you want to highlight the positive image across the world. Fighting against hunger, just within this month, what are your long-term goals? Why have you picked up this, apart from trying to show the world that, Pakistan youth are doing a lot of
Basically, fight against hunger is the campaign because a famous leader, Aristotle, he said that when the hunger from the country or from the nation it gets finished, the nation will definitely rise up.
Yeah.
So basically, as from poverty and hunger, as poverty and hunger will get finished from the country, the nation will rise up, and the nation is rising up now. And so, as Basim said, so we should put Pakistan should portray the positive image as your channel, for example, PTV is always portraying the positive image. So that's why that's the main reason. Long-term goal is to portray the positive image of Pakistan.
Yeah, we've got amazing people like you to come over and share their campaigns and what you guys are doing for the other people of the parliament as well, and then your country. But then at the same time, now let's just pick up on the campaign again. And when I pick up, how much of area of Pakistan are you guys covering, or it's like all about Pakistan?
We launched a campaign in all the Pakistan, and if I tell you that what we did as the
Sure, how are
Ramadan
you guys
start-
actually looking out for it
Yeah.
then?
So like for example, the first Ramadan, we started a campaign in Sialkot. They led us in Sialkot, Basim and other friends. So we in Sialkot we fed more than 2,000 people, and then 2 days back we did a campaign we did iftar in Peshawar, and more than 2,000 people had iftar there. And then today we are having the iftar in Karachi as well, and in Apara Chowk in Islamabad as well.
Wow.
And inshallah more than 2,000 people will join us here too. And from tomorrow onwards we are starting the distribution of the ration packages among the whole Pakistan. And from tomorrow we are starting through my district Murray, and through other districts of the country also.
Wonderful. So you're basically trying to do a collaboration and get all the districts together and spread the message. That's wonderful. Okay, now moving on from this fight against hunger, because I think we've covered that. Unless there's anything else you want to add?
One thing I would like to add is that the youth of today, most of the youth of today are, motivated towards the wrong side. So to bring them to the correct side, for example, my inspiration is my Sheikh, my inspiration is my Sheikh Khatib Hussain from Pir of Bilawara Sharif. What he does, he's as young as we are, and what he does is till now, he has fed more than 60,000 people. Till now, from the first Ramadan till now,
Wonderful.
he has fed more than 60,000 people. So we can take good examples from the environment, and we can.
So basically what you're saying is look around you, because there's heroes everywhere, and that's wonderful. That's really great that
Yeah, that is amazing. But then to pull off such a great initiative, you do need partners. And then how
that's
are you
what
guys,
they're doing,
Yeah, how are you guys doing it then? Is it like, for all of those members who are within the youth parliament?
Basically, we have a hierarchy of 20 people.
Okay.
Under this hierarchy, 40,000 people are working all over the Pakistan. So for 40,000 people, it's not a big deal.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, excellent.
40,000 people.
That's what I wanted to move on to. Let's talk about this youth and the movement of the youth that you guys are gathering and the social work you're doing. So how you go to all the districts, how do people actually become enrolled and involved with you? Because you talked about grooming these youngsters. So how are you actually doing that?
Basically, what we do is we have a proper chapter established in every district.
Okay.
So what we do is
and there's 100, how many districts?
102 districts.
102 districts.
So what we do is we inform the district leader of that district. He gathers his team members, and he arranges the what they can do is they arrange the iftar, and from what help they require from us, and we do that. We move on to that district, and then all the team gathers up. We are fasting, and then while fasting we just serve the iftar to the poor, to the needy. So our first priority is the widows, the special disabled persons, and the orphans.
Okay. And now the people who get involved, the ones you have the hierarchy, then you have the districts and people working within the district. How do those youth get involved? How do they sign up? What do they do?
Well,
do they volunteer? Is it paid? What's it like?
Talking about the era of 2016, e-commerce is the first thing everybody is preferring, right? So we have a very pretty much cool website. You can visit it, nya.com.pk, right?
Okay.
You can register yourself. If you are coming up to the criteria, we'll send you an email, and you'll get your parliamentary cosmetics with that, the file and everything like that.
Parliamentary cosmetics. I like the term.
That's a nice good term. Yeah.
It's like you get a lipstick and you're supposed to put it on when you go to the parliament.
Innovation is the first thing I prefer.
That's excellent. That's a really good, nice idea. Okay.
The second thing, what National Youth Assembly is doing, what is our motive, right? When we talk about politics, right, it's not like gathering people. Gathering people is not politics.
Yeah.
But unfortunately in Pakistan, if you gather more people, you are the most flashy in the politics, right?
Okay.
Yes.
National Youth Assembly, it's basically a school of leadership, right? For being an engineer, you have to study engineering. For being a lawyer, I'm studying law right now. So for being a politician, you have to be you have to have some leadership qualities within you. So it is basically building your character, building your self-esteem. So how you can cater other people.
So it's a school, you've
This
actually
is a
got it into a
training
nutshell.
program.
Yeah, and one more thing I would like to add.
School, and
Yeah.
I most preferably say this is a family for us. It is NYA family.
And
Right.
one more thing I would like to add is we go to several countries as state guests. I visited Sudan in the international referendum. So what I said there is that, and even on the media channels, I say that the political parties, they're using the youth for their own purposes. So National Youth Assembly is the platform that grooms the youth, that doesn't uses the youth. Yeah, they grooms the youth
And they're not biased.
Yeah, they're not
That's
biased.
what you're saying.
Yeah, basically you're doing it for the youth and for
Yeah.
the betterment
Yes.
of Pakistan.
Exactly.
There's
So it's
no
all transparent.
hidden
Well,
agendas.
I would like to add a point, as I said before, like how we portray our country. Whenever I switch on the TV, I see like a person threw acid on his brother, a person threw acid on
Probably
his
sister, yeah.
But what I'm talking about, have anybody threw acid on you or me?
God
no,
forbid.
haven't.
God
though.
forbid.
These are the literally the things which are happening. Like
Okay, but
out
then
of-
at the same time, I've got a lesson for you, and that is, but you, even if you're not on national television, but if you are on a channel which goes out in 45 or 50 different countries, you're not supposed to use such words or statements at the same time. And since you guys are young people, it is good to highlight these issues, but let's do it domestically. We do not have to go international
don't
about
know.
it, but then at the
I
same
disagree.
time, other than this initiative of yours, where you guys are fighting against hunger, what are the other philanthropic initiatives which you guys are probably thinking upon that this might be a solution?
One more thing, like I would like to highlight on this regard is that last year we gathered the disabled people, and then we plan to give them wheelchairs and their whatever instruments they use, the deaf people. So we gathered the people there. So our basically main mission is to finish the poverty, to finish the to help the disabled people, and basically the main, I would like to sum up all this in 3 words:
Yeah.
live for others.
Live
This is
for
all.
others.
Great, that's
Right.
wonderful. Thank you, and thank you for your time. It's been absolutely wonderful to find out.
Thank
And,
you.
You know,
Yeah.
as you said, the website is nya.com.pk. So if any of the youth that are watching today would like to get involved and do something productive and learn, because at the end of the day, like Basim highlighted, that if you're an engineer and you want to get a job, you have to have the experience. You cannot just get into politics
Yeah,
because
just like that. Because
just
it
like that.
runs in your family.
Exactly. If there are channels, there are mediums that you can go, there are platforms you can use and do something productive for your country. And like Shazad said, okay, yeah, don't air your dirty laundry in public, but sometimes you have to in order to get things moving. So it is a double-edged sword. With that, Shazad, would you like to say anything?
Yeah, the only thing which I would love to say over here is that, since you formed the assembly, you guys are working hard for it. Don't worry, we'll be right here. And every initiative which
And
you
we
want to
have
come
supported
up with, we have done a few shows, and then you can actually consider
I
us
would like
partners
to-
as well. We'll just have you over and we'll discuss it.
I would
over.
like to thank the PTV team also. They always
you.
support and help us.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
very
that's
much
so
for
sweet.
that particular reason.
Okay, so
Just
with
because
that-
you're friends with my brother-in-law, it's all right. But ladies and gentlemen, I think this is about it. And well, there's one more thing, and that is, what's the criteria, by the way, to apply for all those youngsters out there? Because they might get scared before applying that I don't know whether they're going to accept me or
well,
not.
first of all, you gotta be like 16. It's
Or-
like 16 to 35, right?
Oh, I can still apply.
I think for another 20 decades you'll be able to apply, Shazad, at this rate.
And
Yeah.
one more thing, that anyone who wants to join hands with us in the fight against hunger campaign,
Yes.
they can visit our website, as you told, nya.com.pk, and from there he can get the contact details. And I would like to say that do join us. It's a very good cause, and we are doing it voluntarily.
Inshallah, people will.
Great, thank
okay,
you
so
so
16
much,
to
yeah.
35, very quickly, and
And a bit of an interview like how innovative you are. It's
Okay.
not dependent upon what degree you have. It's upon how innovative you are and what's your vision in the betterment of the country.
okay, and I'm
Wonderful.
literally very innovative because this was my pocket scarf.
Exactly.
It's perfectly all right, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget to write to us on our Facebook fan page, which is with the name of
Well, this morning.
on Twitter,
Well, this morning with Ada G.
on Dailymotion and YouTube.
Well, this morning.
Until the next time.
The repeat is at.
Okay, the repeat is at 5 past midnight.
Yes, it is. Until the next time.
A very good morning.
Okay, well, don't do that.
Good morning.